I had a relationship with a person that I liked a lot from like March to June, and it was a wonderful time. And then they left to go move to a different state, and then it all blew up in my face. And I spent a good 2 or 3 weeks recovering from that, and then I, have not gotten over my feelings, even though now it's September. So that's like what 3 months of feeling for this person. All this to say that I think like one of the core tenets of like me as a person is that I feel deeply like the individual experience, by which I mean like I feel feelings very strongly and hold my relationships with people very, very closely. And that is both a strength and a weakness. A weakness in that it makes my decision making and sort of what I optimize for particularly local. I think not about like what would be best for humanity or like the millions of people in my state or maybe like the hundreds of thousand people in my county. It's very hard for me to think on those levels and work in an honest and genuine way towards those levels of impact. But I care very, very deeply about how can I make this life the best possible life for me and my family and my close friends who are loyal to me, or how can I make this life and this world as peaceful and fruitful and lovely and interesting for like my spouse and my kids and my pets. And that's a weakness in that it prevents me from thinking big. I don't think I want to or feel like a natural impulse in life to impact the world in ways that are like grandiose and wonderful. I don't want to make the next like Airbnb or Uber or ChatGPT or whatever have you. And I can say that with almost 100% certainty, like 99.999% certainty, that that's not the person I want to be or will be. I don't want to be like a Mark Zuckerberg or an Elon Musk or these people who like I think optimize for like or are able to think about the world. I don't even want to say like in moral terms, but like are able to have visions for the world that are on levels of scale like of the entire world, entire humanity. So a weakness in that like I will never have that level of impact. And frankly, it feels wonderful to like have that level of intellectual honesty with myself. A strength though in that if you can optimize for if you know what you're optimizing for, which is a local impact, you have a competitive advantage over those who are striving for the biggest markets. In that, the model of YC, Y Combinator, is that 99% of startups fail, but you just need to have one successful startup, such that the benefits and like the payoff from having invested in that one successful startup far outweigh the failures of the 99%. So I think people that get into the startup world are those that are willing to accept those that sort of like risks and outcome, because the expected value of a game like that, if you were like purely entering the game as like a player, and frankly you probably are if you're in the startup world, is that you purely love that game. You have to love taking that risk just for the sake of it, because that's who your person is. And when if you were the type of person that optimized for maximum global impact, you probably would be the person that kind of liked that game, because you have the ability to think and strive for that level of impact, and therefore you play that game, because the 1% is frankly all you live for. I'm not a person that lives for that 1% sort of rocket ship success. I just am not. And so, you gain such a competitive advantage, like, an incredible competitive advantage by deciding not to invest your time in making a startup, being the next rocket ship, applying for YC. Like even on like the like individual sort of strategic step you take, you save like years of your life by not optimizing for that, and instead optimizing for what you care about, which is making a business or a side hustle or even a career if it serves your goals that will achieve that that level of success for you and your in my case me, my family, and my eventual spouse and kids. So that's what I want. And the only caveat I'll say here is that I haven't fully sort of teased out what the moral implications of this are, meaning that it's difficult for me to say if it's like more morally good to strive for a global level of impact rather than a local one. If you're a person which has the capability of doing either and you want to do some good in the world, obviously like doing the global impact thing would be better. I guess the only situation in which I can like be sort of morally innocent is to claim that since I'm not a person who like has the natural sort of ambition or drive to have a global level of impact, that it is not possible for me to have a global level impact. And so I would actually do best and have the most sort of total output across the period of my life to optimize for the local level of impact. And I guess the corollary for that is that I have to know deeply within myself that I lack the drive and therefore the ability to have global impact. And I would say at 23 years old, I do have not certainty in that, but enough conviction that it probably is becoming optimal soon for me to optimize for local impact. Probably given that it would take at least like the next decade for me to have any level of like even beginning to have global impact. It's one of the difficulties of like a finite life. I just like can't make that bet on myself, and you have to make a decision with limited information, and limited information is pointing me towards focusing on having that local impact. So, you know, with a spring in my step and with fire in my heart, I'm heading towards the local focus. You get into like maybe a similar or it might even be the same underneath all of it, the same moral question of like, okay, having local impact, you know, is it possible to be morally neutral when you're creating, say, like $5 million in net worth for you and your family? Is it possible to like create profit in a morally neutral or even supererogatorily like a morally positive way? And I haven't teased out an answer to that one yet, but I do think it's like at least morally average, if not morally neutral. It's at least like on a societal level, like at least the median level of morality to pursue profit and a life for yourself and your family that you appreciate and are satisfied with. So, you know, if I can live a life where I have achieved what I wanted and also been morally average, that will have been at least like a defensible life. And, you know, if I achieve that life sooner, then I can start thinking about if I want to improve the world or not. But, you know, it's a coherent story and one that I believe in that I think is true. So, yeah. Lots of thoughts in my head on this evening of September 18th, 2024. Hoping that they find you in the future in one that I've figured out what I end up doing with all these thoughts. Okay, see you.